friends, it's Sue here, and welcome to your 20-minute practice, the Fascia Flossing Flow. All right, what you need for this practice is maybe a blanket or two, or a bolster, or ideally a couple of blocks. We're going to start in table, so meet me on your mat. And the first one, we don't need any props. And I want you to come down into hands and knees, tabletop pose. And then where your hands are, I want you to put your elbows so that you're on what we call a forearm table. Toes can be turned under or not, doesn't matter. Now, in order for this to work, this particular technique to work, you need muscle activation and you need muscle elongation or lengthening. So here, we're going to push into the hands, pull back with the elbows like you're trying to slide them back. And when you've got those two actions going, you're going to bring your hips back toward your heels. Notice I said toward and not to. When you get to an end where you're like, I can't go any farther, really, come forward, release it, take face over hands. Push, pull, and glide. And the gliding is like flossing across the joints, these fascial lines that wrap around the joints, wrap around the deeper tissues of the body. And we do this because fascia needs movement in order to stay hydrated and function properly. And there's lots of different ways to get at fascia. You may do yin yoga, and yin yoga is a way that you can tap into this fascial system. For me, I like a variety of things. So this flossing idea really spoke to me. And it can do something a little different and in a different way than, say, yin. Let's do one more. This particular movement targets the shoulders, the armpits, and the chest, upper back. Good. And then release. If you can sit up on your feet or on a block, go ahead, just get off your arms for a second. The second one that we're doing is also for the shoulders. I'm going to ask you to come down into that table forearm, but you're going to put your hands, elbows, hands together, backs of the hands on the floor. So as close as you can with your elbows, if they can touch, great. Hands all the way open. Open your knees a little bit wider so you have more stability. And the movement is you're going to lean to your left and listen with your ear. And then come up. Change sides. Lean to the right and listen with your ear. And come up. And you glide back and forth. You go down slow and you come up a little quicker. The elongation and the activation in the muscle is on the way down, coming up. And you're gliding across the outer shoulder and tapping into the upper back, right between the shoulder blades. And up. And the more you can hold your hands open, the better. If your hands don't do that, you can put your palms together. But the more you can open your hands, the more you're going to floss these tissues in the shoulder. We'll do one more on each side. Ear toward the mat, and come up. And ear toward the mat. So you're turning your head and come up. Good. Get off of your arms. All right, the third one for the upper body, and I broke this workout into segments, so upper body, lower body, and core body. You're going to need something to put your hands on. I'm going to use my blanket. You could use 2 blocks behind you. You could use, I don't know if a pillow would work, but maybe a couple blankets. Just something to put your hands on. And if sitting like this is too much for your knees, I want you to put your legs out in front of you. And if that's the case, you may not need something up on your hands. So you decide. So I'm going to lean back on my hands and bend my elbows and kind of collapse my belly, collapse my body. I want to look down. The action is pushing into your hands, straightening your arms, opening your chest and throat, and then bend and release. Push. So the action, the elongation and the action is on the upward motion. So you want to do that slower than when you go back. Push and lift and go back. Push and lift. And go back. So you can do as many of these kinds of actions as you like. There's no wrong or right number to go by. It's a little intuitive in nature. Last one. Finding what works for you and then repeating that. Consistency is what really, really does the job. Okay. So a little transition time. You can rest here in child's pose, or you can come up into downward facing dog pose. Keep your knees soft initially, so you can keep those nice long arms. Feel the warmth, the blood flow, even maybe the lymph flow in your arms, in your armpit chest. From here, if you're with me, lift your heels, rolling yourself into a plank. Knees touch the mat, release your toes, pubic bone toward the floor, heart up. So arms are staying straight here. Modified up dog. And then release and let it go. All right, our little second segment is for the lower body. So this is where you're going to need your blocks. And I'm going to turn a little bit so you can see. Take your right foot forward in a kneeling lunge. And what I'd like you to do is have enough space between your knee and your front foot so you can move. All right, so whatever that works out for you. And then take your blocks maybe in line with your toes. The action here is on the way back. So you find your range forward, and then you push down with your foot, pull it backwards like you're trying to slide it on your mat. And with that action, glide your hip back. And then release it when you get to your end range of motion. Push, pull, and glide. It's just like the arm movement. And if you want a little deeper action in the calf muscle, when you push and pull, when you start to glide, lift the ball of your foot up. And keep pulling with your heel, keep pulling with your heel, and then release. Push, pull, glide, lifting the ball of the foot up, keep pulling the heel as you sit back. If you're feeling this in your hamstring, back of your leg, you're doing it right. And I just moved my block out of the way so you could see what I'm doing, but you would ideally have both of your blocks out in front of you. Push, pull, glide. It's another one of my favorites. Good. And then release. All right, let's switch sides. Same thing. So thinking about where you can go with this side, you lean forward, you find your end range, then you push into your foot, you pull it backward, activate your hamstring, and then glide the leg back with that activation. And then come forward again. Push, pull, and remember, I'm only using one block so you can see me. You ideally would have two. Now, if you want to play, push, pull, lift the ball of the foot, keep pulling back as you glide backward. And you'll feel more in the calf and in the knee. I can't say enough about how important this is for knee health. Most of our knee problems come from tight fascia around the knee socket joint and or hips. Right? So lift and pull. Ugh. And if it feels good, just do a whole bunch of them. And these practices are so great. Go ahead and release on their own. But you can also add them to different things you're doing, like before or after a run or before or after a strength training workout. This next one, you can use blocks again if you like. I'm not going to. I'll show you a different way. Hands are on the floor like you're in table. And take your leg out to the side. Now you can see that I turned lengthwise on my mat because I want a little sticky under my foot. I'm going to push down with my whole foot and I'm going to pull it in toward my other knee. And then I'm going to lean backward. This gets in the inner thigh, inner groin, coming forward. And you can move your hands. You saw that I just did because I didn't have enough range. So you come forward, you push, you pull, squeegee your foot into your knee, and then sit back nice and slow. Up, push, pull, glide. Most of us are pretty congested in our inner hips crease and our inner groin from so much sitting. So these kinds of practices around this area can really open things up. And if our fascia and our lymphatic system are healthy, we're healthier overall. We have a greater sense of mobility and ease in the body. When our lymph system is functioning properly, we have good release and removal of toxins, and also good distribution of nutrients. Good, release that. Change your side. Okay, and remember, if your hands are forward, you've got more room to move around. You decide. So push into your foot, squeegee it in, and then lean back nice and slow. And then when you get to your end range, come forward, push, pull, and glide. And then up, push, pull. And then up. So you just keep that activation of the inner leg adductors as you lean backwards. So push, squeegee in, feel those muscles kick in. And you might notice this around the hip socket, around the inner area of the pelvis. Let's do one more. Push, pull, and glide back. Good, and then release. All right, the last one in this particular segment is for the outer leg and the outer hip. So we're gonna lie down on our sides. And you're welcome to use a pillow or something for your head. I'm just gonna cradle my arm, head on my arm. Make your feet stack on top of each other, knees stack on top of each other, hips stack on top of each other, and be in a 90-degree angle here. Your hand's gonna rest on your leg, but you're not gonna push on it here. You're gonna just lift the leg up wherever it wants to go. And then I want you to push and resist it when you go down. Lift it as a light movement and then push and resist as you go down. That's the action. Lift, push down. The height of the leg doesn't matter, so you might not have the same range of motion that I have. It doesn't matter. It's the pushing against the leg and resisting it that activates the muscle and elongates it. Good. Up, over, push down, push down, push down, and up, push down, push down, push down. And if this is hard, most of us are pretty weak in this area of the body. So you might notice that. Go ahead and rest. All right, let's switch sides. Same thing on the other side. Cradle your head how you like. Knee in front of hip, feet underneath, knees in the 90-degree. And then just float your leg up. Push against the outer leg to resist on the way down. Lift, resist. Lift, resist. Easy breathing. Thinking about massaging these internal massages of the fascia. Our fascia is a fluid-filled matrix of tissue that intertwines all through the body, from the very tippy toes all the way up to the top of your head, which is why sometimes you might have an injury and it affects other parts of the body. Have you ever noticed that? That's why. Let's do one more. Resist, 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 resist. Good. Oh my goodness. All right, come back to table. Transition move, either child's pose or downward facing dog. And again, you can play with your dog pose, maybe straighten the legs, maybe bend and straighten the legs, rounding the back a little, straightening and lengthening the spine. Lifting your heels up to transition forward if you're with me. Knees on the floor, release your toes. Pubic bone drops down, heart comes up in an easy modified up dog. Exhale and release. All right, our last little segment is for the torso. And we're going to start lying on our backs. Lying on our backs. And I want you to cross your legs. Let's start with your right leg over your left, okay? So cross a tight thigh You can leave your legs in this position, or if you're able to, hook your right foot around your back left ankle. And then let your arms be down, palms down as a little anchor. You're going to keep your upper body quiet. Start on the floor. And you're going to exhale, lift your knees up, kind of curling towards your body. Hold that as you lower over to the left, nice and slow. And then inhale, come up and down. Do it again. Exhale up, create that constriction, and then go over. And then come up and down. Lift, over, up, and go down. Couple more here. Exhale when you come up, rotate over, kind of wrapping that tissue around, and then come back up. Remember, it's the lengthening that's causing that action. So when you're going over, it's slow. And up, and come down. Good. Uncross your legs, and pause in a minute for a moment. Checking my time. All right, let's do the other side. So left leg tightly over the right as much as you can. See if you can hook your feet. Start on the floor, palms down. Exhale, knees to chest, and then rotate over to the right. Come back up and down. And you don't have to go all the way to the floor. A lot of us don't have that mobility in our spine. This kind of practice will help you for sure. Exhale. Now this goes right to the inner groins, the inguinal area of the pelvis, where we have a lot of congestion here. And I notice that on this particular action, I feel a lot of restriction, I'll call it, on one side, not so much on the other side. Exhale, last one, over and up. Good, and release, let go. All right. So this next one is a little bit different. You're going to start, let's start with the hips to the left, put your right leg down, bring your left knee over. Now you're going to do a twist here, but what's different is I want you to extend your leg so it's out on that diagonal, and I want you to put your big toe on the floor. And then take your left arm, so if it's my left leg over my body, it's my left arm up, drop to shoulder, turn the thumb or the palm to the floor, and reach it back behind you on a diagonal. So my thumb is touching the floor and my big toe is touching the floor, and I'm in this great big diagonal line. From here, you're going to curl in, and you're going to take your hand to the inside of your foot. Now, if you've got a little bit of a neck issue, put something under your head. That's less of the problem. So now you did the reverse, and then go back out slow, reach, touch, toe and thumb. Come back in, exhale. Slow, reach, stretch, touch. Come back in. Slow, turning the thumb, turning the foot, so that the big toe and the thumb, like you're hitchhiking back, touching the floor. See if you can in both positions. Slow, slow, slow. Reach. One more. Reach, reach, reach. And relax. Good. Come back into the middle. Rearrange yourself a little bit. And then we'll do the other side. So hips go to the right, drop the left leg, bring the right knee up. Now, as you rotate across, I want you to extend your leg so that your big toe is touching the floor and your foot feels like it's internally rotating. The whole leg is internally rotating. And then take your right arm to the sky, drop the shoulder, and take your thumb back like you're hitchhiking on a diagonal. So I can't touch in both of these places on this side. From here, exhale, hand touches the inside like you're grabbing your inner arch, and then open, toe touches thumb. And then back in. And again, your head doesn't have to come off the floor or off your prop, but you can lift your head up. if you like, and then put it back down. Oh, so touch the inside of your foot or ankle, reach back, thumb and big toe touch the floor. Come back in. The juice is on the opening. So you want to reach back, working against gravity. Reach back. A little bit of a funky movement, but once you have it, it really works the hip, the shoulder, and the torso all together, which is why I wanted to end with this one. Relax. Come to your center. And then just put your legs down for a moment. Put your arms down for a moment and assess how the practice affected you. You look at things like your breathing or just the general sensations around your hips, spine, shoulders, chest. The ease that you might feel in your body. Okay, so there's your fascia flossing flow. I do hope you enjoyed that little practice. And let me know how you like it. Remember, you've got 2 more in this bundle. You've got the next one, the somatic movement flow, which is really different. It's much subtler, much gentler. And then you've got a whole nervous system practice. All right. Namaste, yogis.